Hey folks, Greg from Greg's Country Cabin Outdoors. Thought I'd show a simple fish cleaning video. This is a bluegill that I caught on my lake, and this is the way I clean them. Now you can clean them however you want to. I do not fillet my bluegill. Okay? This is going to be graphic, so be prepared. At this point, if you wish to shut off your video, you certainly may do so, or get rid of the kids. At any rate, I'm going to show you how to clean a bluegill. So I start by cutting right across the top of the head, and I work my way down to the spine. Once I get to the spine, then I kind of work my knife back and forth till I can break that, sever that spine. At that point, I take a thumb, put it in there, the other thumb and put it on the other side, and I pull. And I pull, and I pull, and at that point that fish is gutted. Okay, so now I'm ready to scale it. I bought this fish scaler, and yeah, it's made in China, but it happens to be the best fish scaler I've ever come across. I don't use a knife to scale my fish because it makes a terrible mess. This thing does a fine job, and you can get right in there and it takes those scales right off. And it doesn't take very long at all to do both sides. And I try to keep it down in the water while I'm scaling, because what that does, it keeps from flipping the scales all over your kitchen. Unless you have a fish cleaning station somewhere out in the timber, that it doesn't make any difference if you get scales everywhere. You're going to want to kind of keep the mess to a minimum. So, now, once I have finished scaling this fish, make sure that's rinsed off good. Take my trusty Rapala, and this is a knife that my brother purchased when he was a young teen. So, this knife is probably every bit of 45 years old. And I'm still able to sharpen it. It's stainless, so it doesn't hold an edge very well. No stainless utensil ever has. At this point, what I do is I take my Rapala and I scrape the moss and the scum off of the fish. And I do it on both sides. And this also allows me to get right up next to the fins and get those little scales that the scaler may have missed. The dorsal fin will be eliminated, and the reason that it will be eliminated is because I have found through the years that when I pack these in a freezer bag, that dorsal fin will poke a hole in that freezer bag. And so I take and lay my fillet knife right alongside that dorsal fin and just fillet that dorsal right out of there. Once that dorsal fin is loose, you can pull it out. Sometimes you got to cut a little deeper. You can pull that dorsal fin out of there. Then I come down here, and that is the rectum. I'll take my knife, go right behind that little poop hole, and fillet that out of there. And then, this particular one's a male, so you got to reach back here in the back and pull out those testicles. Now, this fish is ready for the freezer. So, I'll rinse it off good. Make sure there's no scales on the tail or along those fins or along these edges right here. Occasionally you'll get scales laying right up in the edge there that the scaler or the knife don't particularly want to pluck off. Once it's rinsed, then that goes into a bowl of salt water. And once that's in that bowl of salt water, I let it soak for a minimum of 20 minutes in that salt water. Now, You don't have to soak them any longer than that. I have soaked them for as much as 3 hours. However, if for some reason you don't want to freeze your fish right away, the best thing to do is to go ahead, leave the dorsal fin in. Okay, bread them up and fry them up. That dorsal fin will pop right out when you cook it. If it's cooked properly, it'll pull right out of there. I do not debone my fish because they're small enough that I'm going to end up with nothing but breading by the time I get done frying them up. So that is how I clean them. Now, in order to freeze my fish, the one thing that I do want to add here is I freeze my fish in water. Okay, I'll get out a 1-quart freezer bag because I've got 8 fish here and they'll all fit nicely. I will put my fish in that freezer bag. I will fill it above the fish and I will start to zip it shut. As I zip it shut, I will squeeze it to squeeze excess water out of it. This makes sure there's no air in that bag. Then I freeze it. And I have had fish that I have taken out of freezer bags that have been in my freezer for well over 2 years, and they're just as fresh as the day you put them in. They're not any fresher than the day you caught them, but they're just as fresh as any other time you want to pull them out of the freezer. So, this is Greg from Greg's Country Cabin. I hope you enjoyed this video. Oh, one other thing. The finger is no longer in a splint. It's free. I can move it. Yes, it looks like hell, and it will continue to look like hell for a while, but it's gotten a lot better. Alright, thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, and stay tuned because I will eventually get around to posting shed toe videos. Have a great day.